But I'm going to start today talking about what Tlaib did yesterday. I mean, Tlaib, what she did yesterday was beyond imagination, and she's getting a complete free pass in the media. Well, I'm not going to give her a free pass because we're going to talk about it, and we'll take your calls on it. But what she did yesterday, which I'm going to detail when I get on the air in 90 seconds, is pretty bad. I'm going to move the camera just a little bit, guys. There we go. Thank you. Welcome, good morning. Welcome to the stream. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Here we go. All right, 60 seconds. Yeah, this is my Magnum PI shirt. Here we go. 30 seconds.
On the air since 1977,
Oh.
it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
It was sooner than 30 seconds. All right, welcome to the program, everyone. It is, can you believe, Thursday morning already? My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. That's right. And man, do we have a lot to cover on the program today. You know, Tlaib did something yesterday that is beyond imagination, and the media are hardly covering it. But we're going to cover it here. And what Tlaib did yesterday was address a crowd of Palestinian and Palestinian-supporting activist in front of the Capitol building. She knowingly lied about the hospital incident in Gaza, which has been totally debunked 80 times over. She pretended to cry with crocodile tears. And then, after she was done speaking, the pro-Palestinian and Palestinian activist that she lied to with the crocodile tears, if I say fake crocodile tears, does that cancel that out and make it real tears? Okay, so with the crocodile tears, and then they marched on the Capitol, interrupted congressional hearings, which is the interruption of government business. They stopped government business and staged a massive illegal protest inside the Capitol Rotunda. Is that not an insurrection based on the definition that we've been given the last 2.5 years plus? I would say yes, it is. It does fit the definition of an insurrection. And if January 6th was an insurrection, was this insurrection 2.0 yesterday? So this morning, I've got some articles. I'll go through the details, and I've got audio of Tlaib and others that were involved in this yesterday. But I was watching early this morning, I wanted to hear what the mainstream corporate media were saying, and it was a story that was buried among their other stories, barely mentioned, and when it was mentioned, it was just said that Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib led a pro-Palestinian protest yesterday. That's how they described it. No one used insurrection. No one called her a liar. No one pointed out that what she was telling those people was the incitement of violence because she was knowingly lying about the incident with the hospital with the crocodile tears. And I just felt compelled that we've got to talk about this because there's some bad things going on and there's a lot of evildoers out there. We'll also cover what's going on in the speaker's race. And your calls on this certainly are welcome as well at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Here's an article in Trending Politics. Anti-Israel protesters storm Capitol office building is the headline. Pro-Palestinian insurrectionists led a protest supporting Hamas terrorists in breaching and occupying the Capitol complex's Cannon House office building illegally on Wednesday. And they were demanding a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The group was protesting Israel's alleged genocide against the Islamic terrorist groups that ruthlessly launched an unprovoked attack against Israel on the 7th. Fox 5 out of D.C. reported this. U.S. Capitol Police say that demonstrators are not allowed inside congressional buildings and are working to clear the crowd. Police have already detained some individuals as chants of ceasefire now are echoing around the building. Now, the Capitol Police did detain people. I don't know if they were officially arrested. Were they booked? I don't know. Were these people just escorted out of the building? Are they going to get visits in the middle of the night around the country? Are they going to be apprehended and sent to the D.C. Gitmo? Are any of them still in custody? The group alleged to be leading the insurrection is Jewish Voices for Peace. Now Jewish Voices for Peace, don't assume they're all Jewish just because they say they are. That's correct. Don't assume that. And just because they are Jewish doesn't mean that they're not betraying the Jews and Israel. That's what traitors do. There have always been leftists who were Jews that have sided with the enemies of Israel. I remember we had a guest on the phone when Arafat, there was, towards the end of Yasser Arafat, he was holed up in his PLO headquarters. Do you remember this? In the Palestinian territories? And he was surrounded by the Israelis. And the Israelis cut off the electricity and the water to Arafat's headquarters while he was inside. Do you remember? And we had a guest on the phone live from that building. They were in the next room from Arafat. And we had them on the phone. And it was an American Jewish guy who was with one of these Jewish Voices against Jews like this group yesterday. Okay, so this is a very common thing. There was a girl, an American girl, you may remember when the suicide bombing thing was happening every other day in Israel. Israel started bulldozing the homes of the homicide bombers. Remember that? And there were Jewish young men and women who would turn themselves into human shields in front of these terrorist homes, blocking the Israeli bulldozers. And there was one girl who was killed because she refused to move when they were bulldozing the terrorist house, and she was an American Jewish girl. So just because someone is Jewish does not mean that they're not anti-Jewish. I know that seems insane, but that's what treason is all about, I guess. The root of violence is oppression, and we're here to say no in our names, the Jewish Voices for Peace said on X. We have the power to stop the ongoing atrocities against Palestinians. We refuse to stand by as the Israeli government commits genocide. According to the DC Fox affiliate, the protest began on the National Mall and made its way into the Capitol complex at Independence Avenue and New Jersey Avenue. The building, which houses congressional offices, is both adjacent to the Capitol building and connected to it via those underground tunnels. Prior to the security breach, fencing was placed around the main Capitol building. This is yesterday. I'm not talking about January 6th. I'm talking about October 18th yesterday, okay? Prior to this security breach, fencing was placed around the main Capitol building. However, the crowd breached the Cannon office building fencing and occupied the Capitol Rotunda. According to Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tlaib led the protest on the mall. Marjorie Taylor Greene shared video footage, and I'm going to share that audio coming up after the break. So here we had Rashida Tlaib, a sitting member of the United States House of Representatives, give a speech filled with lies that she knew she was lying about the hospital, crocodile tears, and then the group she was speaking to breached the Capitol, breached fencing, breached the congressional office building, breached the rotunda, went into a congressional hearing while it was in session, having a hearing, and interrupted government business. Is this not an insurrection based on the standards that we were told about the January 6th events? Our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. When we get back from the break, I'm going to play you the audio from Tlaib. I have other audio that was taken inside the Capitol as everything was going on. And we'll get to all of that coming up. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Now, what are your thoughts, guys? Was that an insurrection, yes or no? Yeah, we need a 1018 commission. Absolutely. I got to go turn the air down, guys. It's really hot in here. I'll be right back. The thermostat, it was 78 degrees. I'm glad I turned it down. I usually do it when I first walk in. Oh, yeah. No, there's no question about it. And it's not being characterized. Even on Fox News, they said Tlaib led a protest. Okay, hold on. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. We'll be back from the commercial in just a moment. Oh, goodness. The double standards never end. And I don't accept this. A lot of conservatives say, oh, well, that's the double standard. I don't accept that. I don't excuse it away by saying, oh, double standards. No, we've got to talk about what had happened. We'll be coming back shortly, guys. Now, by the way, guys, I put a link to my Patreon page. If you would like to support my content, become a Patreon supporter. Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of my podcast episodes. There's a lot of other exclusive content up there as well, and I put the Patreon link right there pinned to the chat today. Oh yeah, Tlaib should be removed from Congress. It was Doug TenNapel did a really good examination of the tears that were fake. I mean, they were dryless tears, totally fake. All right, we are coming back.
Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, we're back. I was listening to Tom Laporta's commercial during the break with Tom. I want to point out a couple things with Tom Laporta. By the way, he covers the entire state of Florida, both the east and west coast of Florida, and everywhere in between. And, if you have an insurance claim, this is just amazing. Now, when you have an insurance claim, first thing you want to do, call your insurance company. I've been there many times. But new Florida law allows Tom Laporta to deal directly with your insurance company for the cost of your repairs. This is amazing. In the past, it was not this way. And if your insurance company, I had this happen, they denied my claim. This was about 15 years ago after one of our hurricanes. I needed a new roof. They said no. And the way the laws were then, I had to go out and hire a public adjuster. Public adjuster got me my settlement from the insurance company. It took a year. So I had blue tarps and all that on my house for a year. And then I had to give him 20% of what I recovered. And over that year, prices went up, and I had to come up with that extra 20% to pay for the roofing costs. Tom Laporta can deal directly with your insurance company for the cost of the repair. That is absolutely amazing. He's a good MAGA guy, and he'll never sell you a roof you do not need. You can find him online at LaportaContracting.com, LaportaContracting.com, or call him on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602. All right, so Tlaib, let me play the audio of her yesterday first. So Tlaib, she goes out in front of the Capitol building and speaks to the pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel protesters, a group of anti-Semites in front of the Capitol, and does the fake crying and pretends, to cry. Tearless crying. That's right, dry tears. And knowingly spread lies, fake news, false information, and blames Israel for the hospital incident, which we knew then that was not true, and she knew it too. So listen to this. This is Tlaib.
Continue to watch people think it's okay to bomb a hospital with children. You know what's so hard sometimes is watching those videos and the people telling the kids don't cry and let them cry. And they're shaking, and somebody this, they keep telling them not to cry in Arabic. They can cry, I can cry, we all can cry. If we're not crying, something is wrong. And so I'm telling you right now, President Biden, not all America's with you on this one. And you need to wake up and understand that. We are literally watching people commit genocide and killing the vast majority just like this. And we still stand by and say nothing. We will remember this, but all of you need to know, I swear to Allah, you are on the right side of history. You are. You're doing everything possible to save lives. What is wrong with that? Stop it with trying to politicize it.
Okay, she tells them they are on the right side of history, and then they marched on the Capitol and committed what obviously is an insurrection if you watch the video. I'll get into more details of that in a bit. Now, yesterday, the Israeli Defense Forces, the Israeli military, released video that I was in shock. It was hard to watch, but I knew it was going to be hard to watch before I watched it, but I watched it because I wanted to be able to share it with you. The Israeli Defense Forces released a video that was published on YouTube, among other places, of the attacks on Israel that happened on October 7th. Most of it, they took the audio out of most of it, but the first bit of footage was taken from doorbell cameras, home surveillance systems, and dashboard cameras of the Israelis in the neighborhoods that these terrorists went through. And they just shot people cold-blooded. Some of them were running away, and all of them, they just shot them dead. Sometimes they beat them up for a while first, and then shot them dead. Then the next, it was all in one long video, and it was just dramatically, it was just very difficult to watch. I saw one guy, they killed him and they moved his body, then they started going through his personal effects to steal from him. They were stealing from the dead. It was so graphic. Then the next section, it was all in the same video, was taken from captured terrorist videos, GoPro cams, that many of them were wearing GoPro cams as they rode their motorcycles and ran into Israel, invading with, I don't know what kind of rifles those were. They were massive, fully automatic machine guns. And they showed where they had blown up and cut through the fencing along the Israeli-Gaza border and went through it, and then started going through a neighborhood that looked pretty much like my neighborhood and many of your neighborhoods, just regular neighborhoods, shooting people dead. And you could tell they I don't know how the Israelis got these GoPro. I guess they captured these terrorists. I don't know. Or killed them, I don't know. But they would go in, they were wearing GoPro cameras, the terrorists. They would go into homes, and when they would, in the regular neighborhood, like any of our neighborhoods, just like mine, and they're outside, and you can see the bicycles and things outside, which means the kids are home. And they go in the homes looking for Jews to kill, and you can tell there's nobody in these homes, they're hiding somewhere. But you can see that there's cell phones that are on kitchen tables, computers and iPads open that are on. I don't know where they ran to. I don't know if they're in a safe room in that house. And they just went house to house looking for people to kill. And then the third section, it was very brutal, very difficult. Most of it was muted. It was mostly silence. It was just muted. Then the final section was body camera footage of first responders who responded to this neighborhood after the terrorists were run out by the army, and they would go into these homes, and of course they killed the dogs, people burned, just terrible things, and more blood than I've really seen in my life that was real in these regular homes, just like it could have been my house. And then I see this thing with Tlaib saying those people, those terrorists, are on the right side of history. I mean, this was a completely unprovoked attack on Israel. Just like us at Pearl Harbor, just like America on 9/11. It was a completely unprovoked attack without warning. And, you know, one of the things that made 9/11 different than Pearl Harbor, both horrific incidents, but Pearl Harbor was a military target at least. 9/11, that was a civilian target, and what happened in Israel was 100% civilian targets. And I'm here to tell you, this fight for the speakership is just, I can't even focus on that, this pettiness with their earmarks and the donor favors and the kickbacks that they all want to get. If Jordan or any of these other jokers said that their first action would be to remove Tlaib from Congress, then I'd be behind them. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm actually from Washington.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, I just want to thank you for the bear that you have. I just got it in the mail, and it was beautiful.
Oh, the Mighty Maga Lion. Well, thank you.
I love the thank you card.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Glad you like it.
That's what it is I call you.
All right, take care. I appreciate that. Yeah. And the actions of Tlaib yesterday are criminal. Criminal, what she did yesterday. It was very well may have been the most irresponsible behavior I've ever seen a member of the United States Congress take part in. And that's saying a lot, because we have a lot of sleaze in the Congress and always have had sleaze in the Congress. But it's bad what happened yesterday. All right, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'll continue with this. I've got more details on the Tlaib insurrection yesterday. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again.
Yeah, that caller there, he was calling. He got his Mighty Mega Lion. Sent out another shipment yesterday. And got another shipment that'll be going out today. And, of course, at MightyMagaLion.com, you can order yours. These are limited edition, available exclusively through me at MightyMagaLion.com. Order yours, guys. You'll love it. It makes a great Christmas gift for yourself or anyone on your Christmas gift-giving list. Yeah, it's upsetting. I mean, that I don't know if any of you see that video that I was talking about. It was hard to watch.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check, brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
The Palm Beaches, the major expressways are crash-free. We do have to save the vehicle and move its home blocking the right shoulder. I-95 on the south on the Queens Road, so far there's no delay. We do have some police activity in West Palm Beach along Haverhill Road and 45th Street, so just be sure to use caution on your approach there. For the turnpike at 95 remote, we're up to full speed to local until Jupiter. This report is sponsored by Air America.
Now, some of this stuff's hard to watch. It really is.
Right now, Air America is offering $50 off electrical repairs and has other deals available for surge protection, panel replacement, safety outlets, and more. All to details and visit AirAmericaAC.com. That's right. Respond.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime, PBKC. Get your tickets now for exciting live events in the paddock. Enjoy dinner and a show with the Rat Pack now on Friday, October 20th. Let It Be, ultimate tribute to the Beatles on November 17th. And Chris McDonald's Merry Christmas Baby, December 15th. Then get ready to laugh out loud with comedy shows with Andrew.
If you're new to my channel, subscribe. You'll love it here, I promise. I think I'm going to have to get a new iPad. My iPad is, the battery charge is not holding as long as it used to. You know how Apple is. They do all these tricks to make you buy new equipment.
You get a doorbell camera, you get a doorbell camera, and you get a doorbell camera. Wish I had them for everyone, but the first 40 True Oldies listeners who called 833-283-5050 will get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with installation.
There we go.
Sloman Shield. Yeah, you can see your home right there in the palm of your hands. But that's not all. Sloman's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're going to get an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 10 contacts, backup battery, and service plan. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 True Oldies listeners that call 833-283-5050, you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. So call Sloman's right now for this limited time offer, 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050.
Brian Craig here with a question for seniors and those who care about them. How would you like to have instant access to a healthcare advocate?
If you're on hold, hang in there.
Would that make life easier for you? You can with I Will Advocates. I Will Advocates will help you set up doctor's appointments, help with your pharmacy, even deal with your pharmacist to make sure that you have your prescriptions. They'll help you find a doctor, including a specialist. If you've been billed improperly by a doctor's office or a hospital, they can help you with that too. They'll even be your advocate when you're in the hospital to make sure you get the care you need and the care you deserve. And that's just the beginning of what they do. I Will Advocates takes care of all Steve Kane's healthcare issues too, and they can do the same for you. I Will Advocate clients are family, and they go to bat for their family.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor was unprovoked, yes. What did we do to provoke Pearl Harbor?
1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326. 1-877-275-2326.
I know you're kidding, right? This is our bottom of the hour break. If you're new, I broadcast live on 6 radio stations. And this is our bottom of the hour break. News, traffic, and weather and all that. We had an oil embargo against Japan for invading China. That's not a reason to bomb Pearl Harbor. We didn't attack them, they attacked us. That's like saying my Mighty Maga Lion. If I refuse to sell you my Mighty Maga Lion, is that justification for you to attack me? I don't think so. Liberal Al's not allowed in our cruise group. Does that entitle him to attack me because I have a cruise group embargo on Liberal Al? Of course not. So whoever said we provoked it over an oil embargo, that's just insane. Mm-hmm. We'll be back shortly, guys.
One of the world's most prestigious private classic car collections is open to the public. The Tower Museum of Classic Cars in Sunrise. 30,000 square feet of extraordinary vehicles, many one of a kind, and all restored to their original splendor. More than cars, the Tower collection also celebrates countless other American innovations throughout.
All right, let's move the mic closer to me.
For information and tickets, visit towercars.com.
Celebrating 46 years on the...
All right, welcome back. One and all callers on hold standby. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. My name is Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. Did Tlaib incite an insurrection at the United States Capitol building yesterday? I say yes. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
Hey, how is this woman even not being brought up in front of the House? Why isn't our House doing something against congresswomen talking like that?
Yeah, where all these guys are acting like they're tough Republican leaders in Congress. They want to be the speaker. I haven't heard any of them speak about any consequences for Tlaib on what she did yesterday, which was lead an insurrection against the United States Capitol.
And how they attacked Trump right from the get-go, blaming him and omitting words that he said, like go peacefully and patriotically to the...
Yeah, and Tlaib said the terrorists that killed civilians and raped women, that they were on the right side of history, and then the people she was speaking to marched on the Capitol, interrupted government business, climbed fences to break in. They were in the office building. I remember AOC on January 6th was so concerned about people getting in the office building. I think we need to have a 1018 commission to look into this insurrection that took place yesterday.
Let alone being anti-Semitic. People that talk about the Jews in that kind of tone is what happened back in Hitler.
Yeah, Hitler. This is exactly right. It's just in English this time, so we can understand it. Yeah, and in color, high definition.
And we largely, the large percentage of Americans stand with Israel, and we have for our history. There's always been a small percentage that speaks against Israel, but now they're out in the public on camera speaking horribly about them.
Yeah, and and the standard for January 6th was Trump gave a speech and his supporters marched on the Capitol and breached the Capitol. Well, Tlaib spoke to her supporters and then they stormed the Capitol and broke in and interrupted government business. Why are they saying on Fox News Channel that Congresswoman Tlaib led a protest yesterday in front of the Capitol building? That was, but Trump committed an insurrection.
I didn't know Fox reported that.
Yeah, I tuned into Fox because I wanted to see how they would cover it, and that's what and it was buried among a lot of other stories as if it wasn't even that important. It was reported as an afterthought, like no big deal.
Has any of our conservative TV stations like Newsmax or Real America's Voice or Right Side Broadcasting in this?
I don't know. I mean, I'm first. It's early. I mean, I'm hoping you guys can take this show and spread it around on your socials and tag all these others that should be talking about this. To me, this is the top story of the day. The Tlaib insurrection. Yeah, the Tlaib 1018 insurrection.
And what would it take for the Republicans to bring her up and censor her? Leading
testicles, and all these guys care about is their donors. They got they need to get a speaker quick because the donors aren't getting paid from all their government contracts. They need to pass them, So we got to get a speaker so the donors can get paid. That's all they care about.
And that's why the established Republicans against Jim Jordan, because he's got a pair and he will stand up. And I really hope somehow that mood or that movement in there changes and shows that we need someone like Jim Jordan that's going to stand up against the deep state.
We could possibly end up with a Democrat speaker with a Republican majority the way things are going. It wouldn't shock me.
Well, the Republicans would have to go on board for that, and that would be a political suicide.
Well, it seems like a lot of the Republicans are kind of going on board by not allowing Jordan to become the speaker.
Isn't it crazy what we are witnessing in America since 2015, since Trump came down that escalator?
Mm-hmm. I've got a headache over it.
It's just unthinkable.
Yeah.
It's not getting better. But I still believe that Trump has something up his sleeve. And my point, or I believe that since they are charging him with insurrection, that opened the door for him to bring in all the evidence he has to prove that.
Yeah, well, the evidence is in the hands of the Congress. Hey, Jeff, I appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Great call as always. So Tlaib spoke to the crowd of anti-Israeli Palestinians. Trending Politics writes, a radical pro-Hamas protester interrupted a Senate hearing, disrupting an official proceeding. And here is the audio of that. Let me pull this up. Hold on. So this is one of Tlaib's people. I have it here somewhere. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, okay, I think this is it. Let's see. Is this it? Okay, that's one of the clips. And I know I have the one of them interrupting. Here we go. This is one of the Tlaib listeners to her speech storming into a Senate hearing and disrupting it. Okay, so she just interrupted government business. She just interfered with government business. She stopped a hearing of the United States Senate after listening to Tlaib. Are they going to pick her up and put her in the shaman's old cell? This is insanity. Anti-Israeli protesters claiming to be with the group Jewish Voice for Peace, and again, don't assume they're Jews because they say they're with this group that has Jewish in the name, stormed the Capitol building Wednesday, demanding that Israel cease its retaliatory assault on Gaza. And here they are in the Capitol Rotunda, sitting down, which is illegal, disrupting government business in the Capitol Rotunda as well. People cannot get around inside, shutting down the Capitol. The group, after listening to Tlaib, disrupted the people's business in the Cannon building, which is where the congressional offices are, while shouting about the war on Israel. That is the textbook definition of insurrection based on the media, the Democrats, and everyone else when it comes to January 6th. The 1018 Insurrection 2.0, inspired and led by Tlaib. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. It's Lisa in Texas.
Hey, Lisa.
Well, this is so upsetting. I mean, beyond belief that she hasn't been thrown out already as a sympathizer to terrorists. My husband actually on YouTube yesterday, there's a compilation of video from Hamas themselves. Their own video has been captured.
Mm-hmm.
Put on YouTube of their attack. And it is vicious, and it is indiscriminate, and it is totally against attack on civilians.
I've seen it. I've seen that video, and it has no audio for most of it, thankfully. And it was very difficult to watch.
Yeah. Very difficult. My husband said, "I have something for you to watch." When I got home from work, he goes, "It's going to be upsetting, honey, but you need to see this. You need to see this."
Now, what Tlaib did yesterday, did she lead an insurrection onto the Capitol?
She surely did. She surely did. It's preposterous that she's not immediately thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disgusted with our politicians that they don't immediately relieve her of her duties. Because look, she's already got another job, the head of the American Hamas, faction.
Yeah, that's true.
She's got a job. She's a terrorist.
See, this is why when President Trump in his first term took out the Iranian general, the terrorist leader, that he didn't inform Congress because he was afraid Tlaib would let the Iranians know before the attack came. That's why he didn't inform Congress, and yeah. But what she did yesterday, she should be removed from Congress. And I don't hear any of these guys trying to be speaker even mentioning her name.
No, not even Jordan. I mean, none of them are saying anything.
Mm-mm.
It's all this pay for play or something.
That's right.
And it's absolutely disgusting, and it just, I keep trying to have hope for our country, and these, buffoons that are in there that are so used to the old way of doing everything, trying to buy everybody off. It's making all of us.
Well, that's what they're doing right now. What they've been doing the last couple days is wheeling and dealing, trying to bribe members of Congress by promising them, this funding, that funding, this committee position, and all this. That's what they're doing. They're bribing other members of Congress to try to wrangle speaker votes while we have an insurrection led by a member of Congress. And all day yesterday, the media are saying that Jordan's not qualified because he's an insurrectionist. He didn't do what Tlaib. Oh, hey, you can't. Oh my gosh, I agree with what you said. The word she used was accurate. Oh my goodness. For those that are new to the program, when we have to dump something, it's due to language, and there are certain words you can't use on the radio. And Lisa used one of those words. It's an accurate word. And she was spot on, right on the money, but it's one of those words. And we have to dump that language because it's not allowed. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve.
What she said was, I don't know if you guys could hear it because I I hit it so quick, you guys might not have heard it. When I said that they're calling Jim Jordan an insurrectionist yesterday, Lisa said that's bullshit. Yeah, Lisa, you can't say bullshit. Oh, man, I tell you guys, don't forget to order your Mighty Mega Lion. If you order this morning during the show, it will go out with today's shipment, okay? Because I'm going to go home, and I got a bunch packed up and ready to go out this morning. I packed up some this morning before I left the house, and if you order this morning, it will go out with today's shipment. So go to MightyMegaLion.com and order yours. And there's also a link in the video description, but go to Mighty Mega Lion. These are limited edition, available only through me at MightyMegaLion.com. And like I say, if you order this morning during the show, it will go out during today's shipment. All right, guys? No, Lisa was right. I just can't let that word out on the radio. Oh, yeah, no, she was right. I don't disagree with what she said. It happens. All right, the delay has re-engaged. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mark. I'm from Pompano.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Brian? I just want to let you know, you're not on the air, man. I can't get you on 14.
Well, we are no longer going to be on 1470 because that station has been sold. It's now Spanish. So we're no longer going to be on 1470, but we did pick up a new FM station in Miami, so it actually worked out. We expanded our coverage area, but you're going to have to listen to us either online or on one of our FMs. Which station did you try? No, we're not on 93. We're on 95.3. 95.3 is one of our stations. So check that out. Yeah, try 95.3. If you're in Boca, I live in Boca, and I listen to our radio station on 95.3 FM. But we're not going to be on 1470 anymore. And I did tune it on yesterday. I don't speak or understand Spanish, even though I took 2 semesters of it in college and took it for a year in high school. But I could tell they were talking about soccer. Because I understood the name of that new soccer player in Miami they were talking about, but no, it's we're just going to be on the FM now. So 95.3 in Boca. We're on. I'll give you 4 of them, but we're on some others too. 95.3 FM. In Fort Lauderdale, 96.9. And up in Palm Beach and the Treasure Coast, it's either 95.9 or 106.9. But in Boca, 95.3. Or you can go to our radio station website, trueoldiesfla.com.
So I guess 95.3.
95.3 or 96.9 in Pompano. Yes, either of those. One of those will be perfect for you.
Okay, man, you guys are getting harder to listen to, Brian, I tell you.
Well, no, we've expanded. I mean, this is not a PR move, okay? We've expanded. If you notice, we were on 1470 for many, many years, just AM. We've expanded to 5 FM stations, and our coverage area is now from the Treasure Coast through the Florida Keys.
You know what I miss? I miss your overnight show.
The overnights? Well, the thing with the overnights, I don't want to get sidetracked because I got a hot topic, but I'll address it since you called about it. The thing with the overnights is, what time did you listen at night?
I used to listen all the time. When it would come on at 12 o'clock.
And do you work at night or did you go to sleep to the radio?
I used to work at night, but also, I'd turn it on when I'd go to sleep.
That's the problem. See, the problem with the overnights is, the first hour and the last hour, everyone's listening, but those all in between hours, it was, I used to, people would tell me all the time, I fall asleep listening to you. And I'd say, well, what time? And they'd say, I don't know, about 12:15, 12:30. So it doesn't do you much good to be on when people are falling asleep because it's the middle of the night. But anyway, no, but I don't want you guys to think I'm doing a PR move, because I'm not. We've greatly expanded our reach. We are from the Treasure Coast all the way down to the Florida Keys now, not just on the AM 1470 signal that we were on for all those years. So no, we've greatly expanded our reach. Plus all my online stuff I do. I mean, you know. But anyway, I appreciate you calling and asking. Tell your friends. 95.3, Boca Pompano. All right. Well, you'll have to do it out on your own, okay? But go check it out. Thanks a lot, all right? Oh, man, I know. Hey, listen, I think we should be on every radio station on the dial. I don't even know why there are other radio stations. Shouldn't all radio stations just have the Steve Kane Show on? That's right, 24 hours a day. That's right. Why would you want to listen to anything else? But getting back to what happened yesterday, and I do appreciate all of you that have been contacting me and who have called me here on the air the last couple of days about that. That's awesome. And it's good to hear from you. As I said yesterday, it becomes a problem when changes like that happen and no one calls you, because that means that no one cares enough to call you. So back to Tlaib. This is from themessenger.com, which is a online news site. Police detaining pro-Palestinian protesters on Capitol Hill. Pro-Palestinian protesters swarmed Capitol Hill, calling for, which means demanding, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, which, of course, an unprovoked attack on Israel. I don't understand why Israel is not supposed to respond to an unprovoked attack that was brutal beyond imagination, right out of the Middle Ages, on civilians. Dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters have taken to the Cannon Building Rotunda at the U.S. Capitol asking for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Asking? I don't know if this sounds like asking. I'm going through some of this audio, and I'll play more of it as the show goes on. It sounds more like demanding. Outside in the front of the Capitol, protesters were chanting "Ceasefire now" and "Not in our name." They also were chanting, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," a slogan that many Jews say is a call to eradicate the nation of Israel. Yeah, absolutely. They want to push them right out to the ocean. Protest leaders said there were 200 protesters that were detained, later saying that 400 were detained. Now, this is the question. These 400 that were detained because they breached the Capitol, they broke through fencing, interrupted Senate hearings, interrupted government business, were they detained and released, or have they been sent to the D.C. Gitmo? Have they been arrested? Are the Capitol Police and the feds going through social media to try to identify people who were there? Police said that between 1,000 and 1,200 attended the protest. They call it a protest. What's different in this one than the January 6th protest? The only difference seems to be to me is one got favorable media coverage and the other one was characterized as something else. Earlier Wednesday, pro-Palestinian hecklers disrupted a Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearing on the Biden administration nominee's ambassador to Israel confirmation hearing. So this all fits textbook definition of insurrection. Yet, no one is calling it what it is, except for me. I'm calling it. Not that matters, but I'm calling it out. And it's important to point these things out. And a lot of people will tell you, well, nothing's going to happen to these people. I'm not so sure about that. Now, News Nation was inside the Capitol when it happened and got a little bit of coverage.
We're here supporting Rashida Tlaib's resolution.
Okay, now you hear that? That's one of the protesters inside the Capitol during the 10/18 insurrection yesterday. We are here supporting Rashida Tlaib. So they heard the speech by Rashida Tlaib, then they broke through the fencing and stormed into the building.
We're supporting Rashida Tlaib's resolution for an immediate ceasefire. We're here with a message for Biden, who's meeting with Netanyahu right now. I'm looking right at you, President Biden. Are you going to be the president that funds and enables a genocide, or are you going to be the president that puts your foot down and stops a genocide? That's what we're here to ask.
Okay, does it sound like they're asking in the background? So Tlaib gave a speech. The protesters then breached fencing, stormed the Capitol, interrupted government business, and a couple thousand were detained and probably released. What's the difference between that and January 6th? I don't see any. Now, I want to tell you guys, this is just an absolutely amazing offer. It is Christmas shopping season, and there is no better gift than the gift of all these great items at MyPillow.com. And with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones that I share with you, but I want to tell you about the MyPillow My Slippers. They are $100 off. They're normally $139.99. $139.99, but with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, just $39.99. They have a whole bunch of new colors in, as well as new sizes. They have smaller sizes for women and children, and also larger and wider sizes for the big guys out there, okay? And you go to MyPillow.com and order those, $100 off. They make a great Christmas gift. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, Kane. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Maria from Florida.
Hey, Maria.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
How's your wife? How's everybody?
Well, everyone's good. We're not in Israel, you know, where the threat of being murdered is over your head at every moment with these terrorist attacks.
Yeah, it's horrible. I've been trying to watch it, but it's really like it hurts me. It hurts me to my heart to see this going on.
Yep.
And when we had everything in control with Trump, with President Trump, I can't believe that these people, when they vote for these nasty.
President Trump handed Biden a perfect country and a perfect world at peace with financial prosperity, and look at what we've got. We've got anarchy, chaos, multiple front wars, and it's getting worse. But as long as Joe gets his 10%.
Yeah, and that's what this is about. This is a money thing, and he's over there. Okay, this is my problem.
I've got 10 seconds, so I'll give you the last word.
Okay. You're giving Israel, you're going over there making peace with Israel, trying to make peace with Israel, but you're giving the Palestinian money.
That's right. Well, I'll talk about that after the break. All right. Thanks for the call. We'll be right back.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Robe Studio. Injured recently? Call the Robes Law Group, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700. Robes, winning for you and our community. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created, here's the oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope your day's off to an awesome start. So we're going to see daytime highs today. We're in the low 80s. I think about 81 or 82 degrees. Partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. Still pretty dry with a light north wind, but it's a little bit milder start. I'm WPB Op 25 First Warning Meteorologist Sandra Shaw. Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture.
Just getting ready for the next hour.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is our top of the hour break. You'll love my content. This is the most pro-Donald Trump MAGA place you'll find anywhere for those of you that are new. And don't forget, if you order your Mighty MAGA Lion during the show today, it will go out with today's shipment. So go to MightyMagaLion.com, MightyMagaLion.com. There's also a link in the description. And great Christmas gift. These are limited edition, available exclusively through me at MightyMagaLion.com. You can find these nowhere else, okay? And as I said, if you order during the show, got to be during the live show, it will go out with today's shipment, okay, guys? So go and order yours You'll love, makes a great Christmas gift. I promise you, you'll love your Mighty Mega Lion. Yes, Rome, just put the link in there, mightymagalion.com. Because when I get off the air, I've got one stop I've got to make at one of our advertisers to stop in, have a brief meeting. Then I'm heading home and picking up the latest shipment that I finished putting together this morning before I left of Mighty Mega Lions to take to the post office. So if you order during the show, it will go out this morning. Jeff, there's no word in the English language more distasteful than should. I must tell you, you know. It's true. No. He's cute and cuddly and tough and ferocious at the same time. All right, hour number 2 has begun, 4 minutes after the hour. Can you believe it's Thursday already? I cannot believe it's Thursday already. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. That's right, celebrating 46 years on the radio this year, The Steve Kane Show. Isn't that amazing? It absolutely is. Almost half a century. Wow. I know Steve started out with, Marconi. Him and Marconi started out together. If you don't know who Marconi is, Google it and you'll get a brief chuckle. It's not that funny, but you'll get a little joke out of that. All right, so I feel very compelled. I'm going to recap what I did in the first hour before I move on to some things that are new, because I feel compelled to do this. You know, yesterday, I mentioned this in the first hour. Yesterday, the Israeli Defense Forces posted a video on YouTube that was very difficult to watch, but I watched it. They put up a video, the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, that was 3 parts. The first part was, all of it was the terrorist attacks on the Israelis from Hamas, and they were from 3 different perspectives. The first batch, it was all in one long video. It was in 3 sections. Section 1 was video that was taken from the local civilians' doorbell cameras, home surveillance systems, and dashboard cameras that some have on their cars. And there was no audio. And you could see the attacks. And oh my goodness, what I saw, I mean, I'm having like a physical reaction now just thinking about it. And it was in silence, thankfully so. Seeing young men and women, very young, running for their lives, and then all of a sudden, they're killed. Shot in the back. For no reason. They showed doorbell cameras and home surveillance systems, and you could see the terrorist with massive military-grade guns. I wonder if there are any of ours that Joe Biden left behind in Afghanistan. I don't know. Those of you that know more about these types, I know about guns, but not military-grade weapons. So if you guys can let me know what type of weapons those were, I'd appreciate it. I hope they weren't ours. Even if they weren't, we're paying for them. Biden's giving them more money. Oh, it's for humanitarian relief. Really? You think you send tens and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to the Palestinians in Gaza, and they put it in a special account that's just for bandages and humanitarian relief? Are you kidding? It's stupid to even try to pass that off. Also, the neighborhood that they were going through looked just like my neighborhood. Looked like your neighborhood. Looked like a regular neighborhood in Florida because of the climate, you know. Then the second piece of footage was from the terrorist perspective, and it was captured off of GoPro video. Apparently, the Hamas terrorists were wearing GoPro cameras, the ones on the motorcycles, and many of them were on foot. So, you know, some of those motorcycles had 2 people on them, and one would jump off and be on foot. They had GoPro cameras on, and you could see everything on GoPro cameras. And they were running and following people through the streets that were running away and killing them. Some of the footage, people were already dead, and there was one in particular, they moved the guy and then started going through his personal items that looked to steal. The GoPro cameras, it showed them blowing holes and cutting holes through the border wall that they have and going through it, sometimes on foot, sometimes on motorcycles. It's very, very brutal. And then part 3 was body camera footage from first responders that went into the homes where the people were murdered. And there were things in there that you just don't want to ever, you can't unsee. It was so brutal. Totally civilian. They weren't even confronting police officers. And as I was talking earlier, they'd go into these houses, and outside you'd see the bicycles from the kids. They'd go inside a house. This is from the terrorist cameras. The terrorists would go inside of a house, and you'd see on the table cell phones that were on, computers, laptops, and iPads that were on. So these people were there seconds ago and had run and were hiding somewhere while these terrorists were coming in with the guns. It's just, it's hard to even imagine. And then Tlaib gives this speech yesterday, you know, lying, pretending to cry. There were no tears coming out of their eyes. Okay, there were some people that did some close-ups of this. No tears, completely dry, crocodile tears, fake crying. Tlaib addresses a group of pro-Palestinian terrorist supporters in front of the Capitol building, tells lies about the hospital incident in Gaza the day before, which was totally debunked, right? Hamas hit their own hospital, hit their own civilians. It's been proven. Multiple sources agree, including even Joe Biden. So I'm going to play you that audio in a moment, but Tlaib gets up and promotes that as if Israel did that, and then tells them that these people are on the right side of history, the murderers, the rapists, the terrorists, that they're on the right side of history supporting those people. And then after Tlaib did that, they stormed the Capitol. They went through the fencing around the Capitol and went inside and interrupted government business. This is an insurrection. And the media are hardly reporting it. The reports that I've heard, including on Fox News Channel, was this. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib led a pro-Palestinian protest yesterday. The other variation is Congressman Tlaib led an anti-Israeli protest yesterday. No one called it an insurrection. Let me play. This is Tlaib's speech.
To watch people think it's okay to bomb a hospital with children. You know what's so hard sometimes is watching those videos and the people telling the kids don't cry. They're like, let them cry. And they're shaking. And somebody, you know this, they keep telling them not to cry in Arabic. They can cry. I can cry. We all can cry. If we're not crying, something is wrong. And so I'm telling you right now, President Biden, not all America's with you on this one. And you need to wake up and understand that. We are literally and killing a vast majority just like this, and we still stand by and say nothing. We will remember this, but all of you, you need to know, I swear to you, Allah, you are on the right side of history. You are. You're doing everything possible to save lives. What is wrong with that? Stop it with trying to politicize it.
Okay, and my goodness. So News Nation is inside the Capitol after those who were listening to Tlaib left, breached the fencing, breached the Capitol, and News Nation talks to one of these people that were inspired by Tlaib. And listen to what the first person they talk to says.
We're here supporting Rashida Tlaib's...
Okay, see, we're here supporting Rashida Tlaib. We heard her speak, and now we're here supporting her, which is evidence that the protesters, the insurrectionists, did what they did yesterday because of her.
We're here supporting Rashida Tlaib's resolution for an immediate ceasefire. We're here with a message for Biden, who's meeting with Netanyahu right now. I'm looking right at you, President Biden. Are you going to be the president that funds and enables a genocide, or are you going to be the president that puts your folks down and stops a genocide? That's what we're here to ask.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you so much to the insurrectionists. Boy, a little different than January 6th. Thank you so much for your interview and message, you insurrectionists. We appreciate your time. Our number is 1-888-GO-CANE-1. This is really a scary place we're in right now in this country. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-CANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
If you're a homeowner, business owner, or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting. Tom Laporta will give you a free evaluation. Laporta Contracting was voted one of the best general contractor and best roofers in South Florida. He's honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and will never sell you a roof you don't need. If you have an insurance claim, call your insurance company immediately. Then call Tom Laporta. New laws are in effect that allow Tom to negotiate directly with your insurance company on the cost of all repairs, so you don't necessarily need to employ a public adjuster or a lawyer. Tom can handle any type of roofing job too. Residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Big news, you don't have to wait for Black Friday to get an amazing deal on your next Bahamas cruise. Because Margaritaville at Sea is giving you a sneak peek of their best sale of the year right now for a limited time. Get a 3-day, 2-night cruise to the Bahamas starting at just
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Now, we are in open enrollment period now, the only time of year that if you're a Medicare recipient, you can make changes and adjustments to your Medicare policy. After open enrollment, you're stuck till next year. And you want to call Debbie at I Will Advisors. Her family have been with us here on the Steve Kane Show since 1994. That's right, 1994. Bill Clinton was in office that long. And each open enrollment period, Debbie at I Will Advisors will help you and update and review your Medicare policy. She does this with Steve every year, and I've been telling you guys she does amazing stuff. Steve had a $2,000 a month prescription. It wasn't covered. He called Debbie. She took care of it. It's now covered. It's absolutely amazing. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, she can help. Her number, 954-753-8080. See, I got that one memorized because they've been with us since 1994. Right? 954-753-8080. And again, no matter where you are in Florida, Debbie from I Will Advisors can help. 954-753-8080. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Mike. What's up?
Well, I'm just disgusted beyond expression by the Republicans and their lack of cohesiveness and unity and the inability to rally behind Jim Jordan. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. We are at a time in history when not only the United States, but the world is at the precipice. I mean, look at everything that's going on in the world, from Ukraine to the Mideast to everything else. And here you've got a handful of greedy, gutless, duplicitous Republicans who are holding out playing their what's in it for me game. It's beyond disgusting. And all I can say is if they don't get behind Jordan, they can kiss my you-know-what bye. I will never vote Republican again. I will never donate another single penny to any Republican candidate.
Well, let me ask you about because I'm not in behind, except for Trump. I'm not into this get on a team and rah, 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 boys, okay? With, like, this thing I'm talking about with Tlaib, this funding to the Palestinians that Biden did yesterday and all this stuff. What's Jim Jordan going to do to take care of any of this if he were to become Speaker?
Well, it's not. Okay, so this is very unfamiliar, but my understanding is the Congress is what basically has the power of the purse.
The House does. The House does, yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah, the Congress. The House is part of the Congress, yeah, but yeah, yes, you're right.
Yeah. So I don't know if the president has some discretionary spending latitude, but I'm thinking Jordan should be coming out, at the very least, making sounds, saying something. That's the wrong. I mean, could you imagine Roosevelt giving millions of dollars to the Nazis?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Well, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. I mean, and I know they're saying that this Palestinian aid is for humanitarian relief. You really think they have separate? We won't use this to kill people with. This will just be for bandages. Are you kidding me?
Well, they pulled up piping. They pulled up piping for the public utilities and used that in the fabricate.
Yes.
Okay, so what makes you think that even if they can't readily convert, gauze and bandages, you think they can't sell that on the black market or something?
Yes.
Can't sell that on. Yeah, so there are ways to make money off of it. You might not get a dollar for dollar exchange, but you'll get.
But I'm just here to tell you. I don't have any hopes that Jim Jordan will be able to do anything. He can't even get himself elected, and not that I like Jim Jordan. Don't misunderstand me. But these uniparty sellouts that all they care about are donors, they're like all a bunch of Ron DeSantis's. There's no one in that Congress that's got a chance of becoming Speaker that's going to do anything but maintain the status quo. They're all sellouts who take bribes like Biden. They just don't do it on the grand scale that Biden does.
This is what's so disheartening to me is the realization that the venality and the corruption is just more of the same, and I just don't see how this ends well. I really don't. Now, maybe I've been.
Well, no. What's this? Listen, what's going on around us, we have no power over. All right. I don't want to sound like Tony Robbins, but these things we're talking about, we really are powerless against. All we can do is talk about them and support Trump. And the positive you can take is that people that never were on the Trump train are now, because they realize that all this hell and damnation going on around this planet, from our local neighborhoods with inflation to the two front wars and the Holocaust that is coming to Israel, led by these terrorists, that only Trump can stop this and restore order.
And this is what I'm a moderate Catholic, lapsed Catholic, okay? But when even I sit up and go, this is biblical, this is bad. And I just want to leave you with this one last thought. Biden yesterday bragging about the United States and how we're capable, blah blah blah. That's in a war involving like an all-out exchange, not a conventional war. And I think it was probably fair to say, if you were to ask anyone at the Pentagon right now who's in the know, they'd probably tell you that our stocks are depleted. We're spread way too thin. I don't have Joe Biden's confidence that we could.
Well, what they say is, they've always said this. If you follow, military news, like from the Pentagon, they've always said that the United States is capable of fighting a two-front war. But what they mean by that is a war like the Second World War, where you have a naval thing in the Pacific, and then you have a ground war over here, and it's not talking about this kind of situation.
Great. But anyway, that's all I had, Brian.
All right. Thank you for your call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Mary Williamson from the chat.
Hey, Mary.
How's everybody in the chat today?
Well, everyone's good. Yes.
I watched that video yesterday where they went in and, showed all the videos about what they did at the kibbutzes and all of that. That was devastating. I mean,
Yep.
See that, and so
is this? You saw the? Are you talking about the footage I saw from the IDF yesterday? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you can they have a channel, and they give updates as to what's going on there.
I mean, they do, and when I saw the terrorists from the Hamas GoPro cameras, they go into that neighborhood. It looked like my neighborhood. It had the kids' bicycles out front, and that and that's how you tell When you pull up to a house and there's bicycles in the front yard, that means the kids are home, and they were home, and it was the weekend. It was a Saturday morning when they did this. I mean, I just cannot believe that what happened yesterday in the Capitol is being characterized as Congresswoman Tlaib led a protest yesterday by Fox.
So, ending on the topic of the Tlaib's video, I shut it down when I saw an animal shot up. Then I was like, that was it for me.
I saw that. It was the golden retriever.
Yeah. Anybody in the chat that's going to watch it, you can't unsee it.
No, don't watch it.
You can't see it. I mean, it's just.
Some of these things, I avoid all of it. That was the first I watched. And the reason I watched that, I got to follow the news so I can talk about it with you. But I knew because that was put out by the IDF and it was on YouTube that it wouldn't be like the most graphic that you would see on like Twitter or something. So I watched it, and it was important for me to watch, but I would recommend you guys do not do it. That's like hazard pay, and I'm very disturbed by it. Now, when they went into the one house, the terrorists that had the bikes out, they would kick the bicycles. They were like angry at the bicycles even, because they were Jewish. Those bikes belonged to Jewish kids, and the anger when they kicked over the bicycles showed. It was just bizarre.
And I just wanted to bring that up, and I rarely ever. I think I've only called in once. I just wanted to voice that because it was horrible for the chat to realize.
Let me tell you the closest brutality to that on that scale would be like the Japanese with the prisoners in the Second World War, the Bataan Death March and things like that. It was that bad. And they felt so emboldened and right in what they were doing, the terrorists. And I'm thinking to myself, how are they justifying in their minds? It'd be one thing if they were fighting military or even police, but these were just all civilians. I didn't even see a cop with, I don't understand how these terrorists think that what they're doing is right and just and killing civilians and children and dogs. I don't understand.
And pivoting just to what happened with Tlaib and what's going on there. Look, everybody knows how I feel in the chat about the government. I don't trust anything that's going on. This voting thing.
Oh, you're talking about the speaker? What a joke! All they're doing is bribing each other right now, trying to bribe one another.
And it's just horrific that this is happening now. And I don't trust anybody there. I mean, Trump trusted a lot of people, and look what happened in the final analysis round 2. Look what they're doing to him now. So I want to see what happens. God bless Trump. hopefully now he's got a lot more discernment in who to select, and all we can do is hope.
It's tough. I mean, Washington, D.C. is called a swamp because it was built in a swamp, and it really is truly a swamp. Hey, thank you for your call. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll take our bottom of the hour break and be back with your calls after this.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're going to really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center. Here's the forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope your day's off to an awesome start. So we're going to see
We got SCREENLESS.
Okay.
81 or 82 degrees, partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. Still pretty dry with a light north wind, but it's a little bit milder start. I'm WPB Up 25 First Warning Meteorologist Sandra Shaw. Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best of the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Yeah, that was just upsetting yesterday. That video really, that the Israelis released yesterday, just hit hard. That was hard to watch. I've been avoiding that kind of stuff, you know. Those of you that are new, this is our bottom of the hour break. We're on 5 radio stations, broadcasting live, and this is our bottom of the hour break, news and traffic and all that. This weekend, I'm not. Depending on the weather and my schedule, either Saturday or Sunday. I'm not sure which morning. I'm going to do a live stream, a sunrise live stream from Mar-a-Lago, and I haven't done that in a long time. Those of you that are new to my channel, I don't live far from Mar-a-Lago, the home of the president, and sometimes I'll go and do a live stream on the weekends, starting before the sun comes up when it's dark, and we watch the sunrise over Mar-a-Lago. So I'm going to do that this weekend. So make sure that you're subscribed and you have the notification bell clicked. Like, if the weather's perfect on Saturday morning, my schedule, either Saturday or Sunday, I'm just not sure exactly which day. A lot of it will depend on the weather. Because I'm going to do it on a clear day, but it will be this weekend. And it's a live stream like this. I'll just be in front of Mar-a-Lago watching the sunrise with you guys. Now, my wife just texted me that some of you have bought your Mighty Mega Lions this morning. If you buy your Mighty Mega Lion during the show today, it will go out with today's shipment. Okay? Because I got to go home and pick them up. So if you order during the show, it will go out with today's shipment. Go to MightyMegaLion.com. And there's also a link in the description. Okay? And these are available exclusively through me, guys. MightyMegaLion.com. I'm going to be heading home. I'll probably be home around 10:30 to pick up the lions to take to the post office. So that's why you got to do it this morning, because we got to box them up to ship them out. MightyMegaLion.com. And there's also a link in the description. All right, here we go. All right, welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Talking about this insurrection that Tlaib led on the United States Capitol yesterday and the atrocities that have been going on. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
As I said on the chat already, I'm wondering how the prisoners of January 6th are feeling today, knowing that they're in jail and these people are getting away with it. This is really...
Well, this guy got sentenced to how many years yesterday for the anti-Hillary memes? And these people yesterday broke down the barricades around the Capitol building after listening to Tlaib. And I'm not hyping this up. I mean, that what they did yesterday was exactly what happened on January 6th.
Exactly, and they're in jail, and these people get away. Why? Because they're Democrats, and anybody who's a Republican, it's a two-party justice system. Really got it.
Well, yeah, but where's the media? Other than me, the media aren't calling it what it is.
That's the problem. The media is.
And I'll say, Doug, obviously you listened to the show from a couple days ago when you were mentioned, and you took the advice.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't able to listen to the show.
Of course. It's just a coincidence. First time ever. All right. Yesterday, there's a guy, a Democrat congressman, Allred, who's running against Ted Cruz for the Senate seat yesterday. Did you see this, Joker? This guy, he's a real monster. He's another one of these anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli Democrats, and he's in the Congress. He's running for Senate against Ted Cruz in Texas, and God help us if Texas ever goes blue. If Texas ever went Democrat, this country as we know it would never exist again, not for decades or centuries even. We would not be able to recover. But he was walking through the halls of Congress yesterday, and a reporter started questioning him about his positions and statements involving the terrorist attacks on Israel. And he threatened to call the police, and actually did, on a reporter for asking questions.
Congressman Allred, do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas?
Okay, and I know the audio is not the best audio, and maybe you can hear it clearly. I don't know. But some of them I'm going to repeat for you just in case, because it's important. So let me play the beginning again.
Congressman Allred, do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas?
Okay, the reporter says, Congressman, do you regret your statements calling for the release of millions of dollars for Hamas? Great question.
Congressman Allred, do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas?
He says, you're on federal property. Like, you can't ask me questions on federal property. I see reporters following members of Congress all over the place asking questions.
Calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas? Congressman Allred, do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas?
Do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas?
You really can't do that. Congressman Allred, do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas?
You really can't do that.
Voting against Iron Dome funding as Hamas attacked Israel with rockets aimed at civilians?
You're on federal property, stop doing this.
You're on federal property, stop doing this, which means journalism. Stop being a reporter. Stop asking questions. You're on federal property, stop asking questions. You know, and of course the problem aren't the questions, It's his answers.
Congressman Allred, do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas? Congressman Allred, do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas?
You really can't do
Congressman Allred, do you regret calling for the release of millions of dollars to Hamas?
You really can't do that.
Do you regret voting against Iron Dome funding as Hamas attacked Israel with rockets aimed at civilians?
That was a great question. Do you regret voting against Iron Dome funding, which has saved all of Israel in the last 10 days? Wow. This is a bad dude. He's running. He's a Democrat in the House running against Ted Cruz for the Senate in Texas. And the guy's answer, you're on federal property. You do not ask questions here.
Do you regret voting against Iron Dome funding as Hamas attacked Israel with rockets aimed at civilians?
You're on federal property. Stop doing this.
Why are you standing with Hamas over Israel? Why are you supporting Biden's open border policies?
Look at the Capitol Police parade.
He just told his lady assistant, what a tough guy. He's hiding behind this girl, and he tells her to call the Capitol Police. There's a reporter doing journalism here. You can't do journalism here. Call the Capitol Police. Now, keep in mind, this congressman is calling the Capitol Police on a reporter asking legitimate questions of a Senate candidate who's a sitting member of the House of Representatives. Tlaib's insurrection's going on. That doesn't seem to faze this guy.
Why are you supporting Biden's open border policies?
Look at the Capitol Police parade.
Why did you funnel taxpayer dollars to a group producing drag shows for children?
Wow. You know, I know a lot of people are frustrated by everything they're seeing, not able to pick the speaker with what's going on with Jordan there, this insurrection yesterday, jokers like this. And people say, I hear this a lot from people, that there's no consequences for any of these people. That there's no consequences. And I would tell you no. It depends on what you want the consequences to be. Now, for there to be consequences, if you mean for people to be arrested, the Democrats aren't going to get arrested, okay? No one who's famous and a Democrat is going to get arrested. Look at Alec Baldwin, killed a woman and shot another, and he's still walking free, making movies. And I know they're talking about bringing charges against him, but I'll believe that in a conviction. Are you kidding me? You know, Democrats are like James Bond. They have a license to do any type of crime they want to do. Look at Biden with the bribes. Think about it. We had a Palestinian terrorist attack against the Jews, the largest murder of Jews on a single day since the Nazi Holocaust against the Jews. And Biden gave them how much money yesterday? $100 million? Kidding me? Okay, so if those are the kinds of consequences you're talking about, you're right, they're not going to happen. But you look at the polls and see how far ahead Trump is in the polls. Those are consequences. There has been an awakening among people in this country between the economy, the border, Ukraine, the liberal support of these terrorists that are attacking the Israelis. Yeah, and there's been an awakening behind Trump because of all of this that was not there before by so many people in parts of this country that when election night comes around, there's going to be a lot of shocked people. And I'll tell you this, there's going to be a lot of snarky Democrats that feel they have safe seats in the House of Representatives that are going to be out of work. And those are the kind of consequences that you're going to see. People set up these standards that are just not going to happen, and you're always going to be disappointed. You have to be in the instead of living in the world of how things should be, you got to live in the real world of how they are, and you've got to redirect what what consequences there will be. The Democrats are doing damage to themselves beyond imagination. You know, I think that the majority of the country, like me, because I know I'm shocked by this, have to be shocked by how many terrorist supporters we have in this country. Did you see the story about the dentist in Miami? Oh my goodness. Listen to this. A South Florida dentist was fired Wednesday after he was caught on camera tearing down posters of Israeli hostages plastered across Miami. an act the dentist claims was intended to quell racially charged hatred in the city of Miami. Are you kidding me? Dr. Ahmed El Kosa was quickly identified as one of the two men who Tuesday destroyed banners of the roughly 200 people kidnapped by Hamas that were posted throughout the trendy Brickell neighborhood. I hear these reporters on TV call it Brickell. It's not Brickell, it's Brickell, which, by the way, is a fancy smancy part of Miami. So this guy's not just a dentist, he was a big-time dentist. The viral footage shared by the Stop Anti-Semitism organization showed the pair walking down a busy street with fistfuls of crumpled paper, sparking social media outcry. The dentist was canned from his job at a Coral Gables dentistry the next morning. The dentist office said, "We're very sad to see this happen." What a twisted guy. He's been removed from our staff, including our social media pages. The dentist, however, claims he was acting in good faith, ripping down the posters of the hostages. He said he was acting in good faith when he and his friend tore down the images. The dentist was compelled to act after learning that a 71-year-old landlord in Illinois fatally stabbed that Palestinian-American boy. Remember, you saw that story? Now, that was awful. And I know they're saying it was because of the terrorist attack. Nobody's going to defend that. But the landlord stabbed the little boy, which is god-awful. I hope that they don't have the death penalty anymore up there. But I hope he never sees the light of day. But since he was the landlord, I imagine there were some grievances that he had with the mother. The dentist's personal opinion was that the posters from either side may potentially incite conflict. He was trying to keep things peaceful by tearing them down. He just happens to be Muslim. Just a coincidence. It has nothing to do with that. The level of anti-Semitism in this country is probably at its highest level in our history, certainly since color television was in American living rooms. I've never seen anti-Semitism like this. And when you see what goes on like this in New York, in Chicago, on these college campuses, I think there's been a great awakening by people in this country, in this post-9/11 world, as to how did this happen? You know how it happened? Obama imported hundreds of thousands of Muslims to this country, like Ilhan Omar in his 8 years in the White House. There was a story, I mentioned this yesterday, there was a story when Obama was president that he was bringing 188,000 Palestinians to the United States. Remember this story? It was quickly debunked by everyone as fake news. Well, I'm starting to think that it was true. Times I don't even know how many. And the more this happens, eventually some reporters are going to look in to these Palestinian protesters and do some research and find out when they came to America or when their parents came to America, and they're going to find that it was the 8 years that Obama was president, many of them. And when people are, I imagine it won't take long for President Trump to add to his re-election campaign platform the defunding of the universities. And all of our universities, even private, get federal funds through student loans and such, and other things. Cut off the funding of these universities that have these terrorist professors and terrorist groups on them that we're seeing all over the news right now. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our last break of this hour and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Good morning, Attorney Barry Siegel. How are you?
I'm great. How are you today, Brian?
I'm doing well. Following the news in Israel, it's hard to say that I'm great, but this will give me talking to you will give me a little bit of a break from that terror.
Okay. Well, today we are doing one of our seminars this morning.
Oh yes.
Office, and we're expecting a full crowd there today. So that one's not available, but we do have another one coming up on the morning of November 7th, 10 a.m. at our office. So if that's something that, if you're listening and you want to join us for that, please call our office and we'll be able to take your reservation. One of the things that we talked about at the seminar, we talked about some of the reasons why many estate plans don't work, and there's a few reasons. One of them that I'll highlight on this call is that people have a failure of having an updating system for their estate planning. I mean, we update almost everything else in our lives. When you have a financial advisor, you don't meet with them once, never check in again. When you go to the doctor, you don't go in for one checkup, they say you're good, and then you never go back. You go for your yearly physical. Same thing with your estate planning, because the moment the ink dries from your signature on it, life continues and things might change. So maybe the people that you named as your fiduciaries, as your trustees, powers of attorney, healthcare decisions, those people may no longer be the right people. Maybe your children have grown up and now they are the people who could do it, replace your brother or your best friend or someone else. Maybe you wanted to change the way you were distributing your assets. Maybe things have changed financially. Maybe the laws have changed. Maybe you acquired new assets and you forgot to put them into the trust. And that's why at the Siegel Law Group we do a review every 3 years to make sure that your estate plan is on target to work the way that you want it to work in case you or your spouse become disabled, mentally incapable, or pass away. Your plan is there to work, and you're not leaving a mess behind, and your wishes are going to come true.
And by the way, that review extends to those of you that did not have all of your documents put together by the Siegel Law Group, right? If you have a revocable living trust, if you have a will or something that you had done by somebody else years ago, the Siegel Law Group will review those documents as well, right, Barry?
We'll do a free review of your current estate plan so that you'll know what you have or maybe what you don't have, so that you can make decisions as to whether or not what you have is sufficient for what you want.
And that's how we met Attorney Barry Siegel. Steve had a trust that was done by another attorney many, many years ago, and he thought it was fine, and you looked at it and it was a mess. It really would have been like a trust in name only. It just was not effective for anything in his situation, family life, or finances. And it's a great opportunity. Those of you, by the way, who are from out of state and you want to update your documents from Florida, you can do that. And it's not unusual, Barry, when people don't prepare properly to have two probates, one in Florida and one in New York or something too, right?
Yeah, if they own property in another state and those assets aren't in the trust, they could end up having multiple probates.
Oh, my goodness.
Multiple nightmares.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, call the Siegel Law Group. It is always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. If you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the radio. You can find them online at SiegelLawGroup.com, SiegelLawGroup.com, or call toll-free 855 FLA 3782, and later in maybe tomorrow or next week we'll start talking about the next seminar, the next workshop that you're having, Barry, so people can call and sign up for that, because you get a lot of good information. 855 FLA 3782. All right, Barry, we'll talk tomorrow and finish out the week.
Thank you.
You too. Back after this.
On the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the...
All right, welcome back. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. All right, so these protests at the colleges, and I've never seen anything like this. There have always been groups that were anti-Israel at colleges across the country, okay, but they were very small in numbers. Now, these anti-Israeli Palestinian demonstrations at our colleges are large and they're widespread. And the ones at the Ivy Leagues are really disturbing, because at the Ivy Leagues, you have a degree from an Ivy League, even if it's in basket weaving, that is the golden ticket to life. The people that go to Harvard, Yale, these schools are the ones that end up becoming secretaries of this and that, and federal judges and Supreme Court justices, and running our country just because they have that Harvard degree. And putting out, I don't know how many thousands of these anti-Semites into the top levels of our society out of these Ivy Leagues, what long-term damage could that be? This great replacement theory that many people talk about is about a lot of things, but it's about changing American culture, and that's what's happening here. What you have, is when I was growing up and all the time before that, immigrants to this country were Americanized. Now, that's a bad thing. They don't want them to be Americanized. And so what we have are generations now, a few generations of immigrants that are not Americanized. And we're seeing it. People like Tlaib. You see people that are not American in their way of thinking. They may be legally an American. I'll tell you another thing that Trump is going to add to his platform, other than defunding these schools, is deporting all of these pro-terrorist students and college professors. So Alan Dershowitz, who spent his life as a professor at Harvard, was on TV last night talking. Listen to Alan Dershowitz.
No decent employer should ever hire any student who supported these rapes and these beheadings. They should treat these students exactly as they would treat Ku Klux Klan members who supported the lynching of blacks, who supported the shooting of gays, who supported the raping of women. There should be no distinction between these neo-Nazis, the ones at Harvard, and the neo-Nazis who everybody would say that nobody should employ. I admire the professor from Berkeley who said, don't hire my students. My students. I would say the same thing. Don't hire my students. You know, these are people who don't deserve to be hired, and more importantly, your clients don't deserve to be serviced by bigots, racists, and anti-Semites like this.
Okay. Yeah, now, growing up, you like me, you probably saw all those documentaries during the civil rights movement of all those racists that didn't want blacks going to their high school or their college or all of that, and how ugly that was. Those first black students at Little Rock with all those whites screaming at them, the N-word, that, you know, that's just like what we're seeing now, except now they're yelling at Jews. There was one girl that I heard interviewed the other day, Jewish student. She said one of her professors who's Jewish told her to hide her Star of David, that she was not safe walking around. She had a Star of David necklace on. She wasn't safe walking around campus with it. Okay? That's how bad it's gotten. But what these neo-Nazis, as Dershowitz calls them, I like that, they are. These neo-Nazis, what they have in common with those Klansmen, segregationists, back in those days, is both Democrats. Democrats were on the side of the segregationists, and Democrats are on the side of these neo-Nazis that we're dealing with now. And this great cultural shift that is going on is insane. And Vivek Ramaswamy, this is going to be the end of Vivek Ramaswamy. Thankfully so, this Soros guy. It's going to be the end of it for him. Because he came out and said that, well, you know, kids are experimenting. They get different ideas when they're in school. This is beyond that so many times you'll never understand it. Okay? There has been a massive immigration movement in this country to target our universities, target our society, target our Congress, and infiltrate it with people that don't think like this. And, you know, what's happened in this post-9/11 world is we clamped down on terrorism, and what had happened is the leftist who all they care about is this virtue signaling. Okay, led by Obama, who's a very bad guy. We're going to find that, you know, because people say, who's the worst president? And, you know, many people say Lyndon Johnson, and I even worse than Biden, Lyndon Johnson with the Great Society and all that stuff. He put just so many millions of people in endless poverty in this country. But Biden's rivaling that. But at some point, there's going to be a deep dive into the change that Obama did to this country. Not just, you know, like I was saying, these terrorist supporting students, that's the Obama immigration wave. That's why Trump had to come in with that Muslim ban, because of this. Okay? But also all this gender stuff that's being done in the classrooms. The generation of young school teacher today are a generation that grew up under Obama, and their worldview, their outlook on our society was shaped by Obama. And whether it's this transgender swimming thing and the athletes and and all this weirdness going on with the drag shows and all this stuff, and these terrorist supporters at our universities, Obama is behind all of that. He hasn't been identified as being the culprit of that, but if you've been around and followed the Obama years, as unfortunately I did, it was a rough 8 years. You see it happening now, and I know that I'm not alone in being completely terrified by all of what's going on here. And we're losing our country in so many ways, not just because of the southern border, and we don't have a southern border anymore. What is it Savage says? Language, culture, borders, or borders, language, culture, one of those, okay? Well, we've lost our borders, and we're losing our culture. We're losing our culture. I was reading an article last week about the increase in young men not just watching pornography, but watching transgendered pornography. Who wants to watch? Do you see how they're changing in sexuality? A group, an age demographic, and you see these wave of immigrants, what they've done there with these college protests. So in a way, what's happened in this crazy age under this corrupt, senile old coot we have as president, Joe Biden, is all of these things have been smoked out to the public, and people are like, what is going on in this country? And there's a major awakening with people in this country. Now, I want to ask you this. Are you sick and tired of being in pain? You don't have to be. Call my chiropractor. He wants to be your chiropractor too. Dr. Philip Appleton. You tired of taking medications to mask your pain that don't do anything because they just cover up that pain? You tired of taking shots to deal with your pain? It's amazing how many people go get shots for the pain. Go see Dr. Appleton. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. With his laser-away pain treatment with Dr. Appleton, there are no drugs, no shots, and no contracts like other doctors have. And it works. He's rid me of pain 5 times. You can find him online at AppletonChiro.com. AppletonChiro.com. And if you need directions, make sure you tell them, call over there. They will text you directions to Dr. Appleton's office directly to your cell phone. Also, Dr. Appleton, he does all of the treatments himself. You go in for the laser-away pain treatment, he performs the treatment himself. Isn't that amazing? It's pretty awesome. Here's his number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. For Dr. Philip Appleton, give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio. We'll take our top-of-the-hour break and be back after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Robe Studio. Injured recently? Call the Robes Law Group, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700. Robes, winning for you and our community. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created. Here's the oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. Hope your day's off to an awesome start. So we're going to see daytime highs today. We're in the low 80s. I think about 81 or 82 degrees. Partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. Still pretty dry with a light north wind. It's a little bit milder start. I'm WPB off 25 First Warning Meteorologist Sandra Shaw.
Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best of the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com.
Now, guys, don't forget, I know my wife just texted me again. Some more of you ordered your Mighty Mega Lions this morning. If you order your Mighty Mega Lions during the show today, it will get sent out with today's shipment. So go to MightyMegaLion.com, order yours. And it's because when I go home this morning, I'm going to pick up all of the Lions to mail out today. And if you order during the show today, the live show, it'll be added to today's shipment, and your lion will go out today, this morning. MightyMegaLion.com. MightyMegaLion.com. Order yours, guys. You'll be glad you did, I promise you. Makes a great Christmas gift. Darn it, where am I? Oh my goodness. These stories I'm reading are insane. Okay, we're coming back, guys.
10 times does exist. Listen and learn the Ellis Martin Report. Weekdays at 9:30 a.m. here on South Florida's True Oldie.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
All right, the third hour has begun. It is 5 minutes after the hour, Thursday morning, October 19th. My name is Brian Craig. I've been covering this Tlaib insurrection at the Capitol yesterday that no one wants to call it insurrection other than me. And I was talking about this infiltration of these terrorist sympathizers in our country that has happened and is being exposed at a level that I don't think we've ever seen before. You know what this is like, what's going on? It's like The Americans. Remember The Americans? Great FX series. If you never watched it, watch it. Episode 1 to the end, about the Russian spies living as Americans. And we're finding that we have all of these terrorist spies and sympathizers at every level of our society. Did you see this Homeland Security girl? Listen to this. A Department of Homeland Security officer was put on leave after praising Hamas. Put on leave? She wasn't fired? When you hear what she did, they should probably arrest her and do a deep investigation. Listen to this. A Department of Homeland Security officer was put on leave after praising Hamas and sharing extremist content on social media, including one post where she wrote, "F Israel, we are ready for your downfall." Now, she worked for Homeland Security. She still does. She's just on leave. Wait to hear what she did. Nejwa Ali joined the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services in 2019 and held the position of an asylum officer. An asylum officer. So, who did she grant asylum to? Iranians coming across the border with their beards shaved, telling people they're from Venezuela? You understand what I'm saying here? This is like a spy. She held the position of an asylum officer. She was placed on leave Wednesday following the revelation of her controversial history. She works, remember, she still works for them. She works at assisting asylum seekers through the immigration process. Then, earlier this year, she moved to the Department of Homeland Security, along with years of alarming social media posts. You know, when you are working for Homeland Security and you move from one job to the next, they do background checks. I had a friend of mine who got a job as a TSA agent when the TSA first was organized. He was like the first batch of TSA agents after 9/11. And there was a guy, he applied just for a regular TSA agent. His boss was like 22 years old, and he was, this tells you how long ago it was. He was a beeper salesman, and he got hired as a supervisor because they didn't have any supervisors. It was after 9/11, guys. And there was a supervisory position open. And I remember when he applied to be a TSA agent, he put me down as a reference, and I got contacted when they did security background check on him. And he applied for a supervisor's position after he'd been with TSA for a few years. They did a background check and found out he had over $10,000 in credit card debt. And not only did he not get the job, they terminated him. They said he had too much credit card debt that opened him up to be compromised, to be bribed. Now we have this asylum agent who works for the Department of Homeland Security with these bizarre posts. But my friend, he lost his job. Along with and there's no way they didn't know all this stuff when they did the background check. So who did the background check on this agent for the enemy? Along with years of alarming social media posts, it was revealed that she previously served as a spokesperson for the PLO delegation in the U.S. The PLO. And for those that don't know, that's Yasser Arafat's organization. So she was a PLO spokesperson. She got a job with the U.S. government helping asylum seekers, and Homeland Security hired her too? A PLO spokesperson? Remember, the PLO were the ones that were blowing places up filled with Jews. Along with years of alarming social media posts, it was also revealed she previously served as a spokesperson for the PLO delegation in the U.S., a group once led by Yasser Arafat, which the United States called a terrorist organization. Yeah, that's right. She was a spokesperson for a U.S. designated terrorist organization. In one recent post, Ali shared a disturbing image featuring paragliders armed with AK-47s with the caption, "Free Palestine," which of course is glorifying those monstrous terrorists and their attack. The Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro's outfit, the Daily Wire exposed years of concerning posts made by Ali, including one in which she expressed disdain for what she referred to as Israeli and American privilege. It's unclear how Ali was hired in the first place. I'll tell you how she was hired by the government in the first place. By other spies that have infiltrated our government during the Obama years. That's how. It's unclear how Ali was hired in the first place in government roles, and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services giving her alarming previous post and ties to the PLO. Because we have spies among us. The Daily Wire reached out to Ali, who angrily replied to the Daily Wire That's none of your effing business, she said. Mind your business before I call the police. Did I say effing? I didn't say I didn't have to dump myself, Mike. Okay, I'm reading slowly because her language is very salty. Okay, English may not be her first language, but she's very good with the profanity. So I'm reading this story slowly so I don't make any mistakes, like Neil Rogers did that one time. Oh my goodness, I heard that lie. You guys remember that? Ooh boy, he was reading an F-word laced email from a listener on the air. I was listening to that live. Woo! She says, if I were you, I'd respectfully hang up the phone right now, she told the Daily Wire. Wow. So she is so emboldened, this terrorist organization PLO spokeswoman who got this security clearance at Homeland Security, and she's not even nervous. She's so emboldened, she's telling Ben Shapiro's outlet, the Daily Wire, what to do with themselves. In her post, Ali claimed all Israelis should be held accountable for their government's actions, even if they do condemn Israel. So all Jews should be held responsible for it. So that's Holocaust right there. All Jews should be rounded up, is what she said. That's Nazis. That's Nazism. She posts on social media this: Israeli-American privilege is disgusting. Well, isn't she American? You got to be an American citizen to have a security clearance at the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security was set up to protect us from people like this. After 9/11, people are like, how did this happen? How did all these Muslims get in on these planes? And we had too many interagency rivalries. So we put up the Department of Homeland Security to protect the homeland. And now it looks like the Department of Homeland Security has been taken over by terrorists. When Israelis acknowledge the government and military... Okay, it goes on. She says, I hold every Israeli accountable. By the way, if you're a Jew, you're an Israeli by her definition. All Jews are Israelis, according to her. A lot of F words. On October 9th, Ali shared a post on Facebook, which I'm not even going to read. It would make no sense. It's all blanks because there's too much profanity. Oh my goodness. This is just insane, guys. This is just insane. Prior to her current position, Ali worked as a public affairs officer for the Palestinian delegation to the United States in 2016 and 17, according to her LinkedIn profile. She served in the PLO office in D.C. Now, the PLO was once declared a terrorist group by the United States government in multiple presidential administrations. It was led by Arafat, of course. When the D.C. PLO office was expelled from the United States by Donald Trump, she secured a job at the Department of Homeland Security Asylum Office, helping asylum seekers get their papers so they could stay in the United States. So how the heck did that happen? She's working for the Palestinian Liberation Organization. Trump closed it down and expelled them. And then all of a sudden Homeland Security hires her, gives her security clearance, and puts her in charge of the asylum seeking? I hope they're doing a deep dive investigation to find out who she gave asylum to and who they are. My goodness. I'm almost done, Mike. I know we're late for the break. This year, she began working as an officer for the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, where her job was analyzing new and amended legislation and policy and review and make determinations on cases for immigration benefits. So she was in charge of putting the stamp as to whether or not you could get on that path to citizenship. Oh my goodness. Is this a terrorist spy, this lady? Sounds like it to me. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. 888-465-2631. Are you guys as disturbed as I am? My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action.
And what the heck? I mean, my gosh. Oh my goodness. Now guys, don't forget today, if you, the show's almost over, if you order your Mighty Mega Lion during the live stream today, it will go out with the shipment this morning. Okay? So, I know some of you ordered this morning, and my wife just texted me. She is boxing them up right now. And when I go home this morning, I'll be picking them up and mailing them out to you. So if you order your Mighty Mega Lion during the live stream today, it will go out with today's shipment. So go do that. MightyMegaLion.com is the website, MightyMegaLion.com. And also, there's a link in the description of the video. This is just insanity. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. And you know that story with that lady I was talking about before the break, who's on leave now. You know, the chances are that they're going to bring her back. They're going to bring her back. And you know, I know since Ben Shapiro and them have found this story, they'll do a lot of coverage on it. But they're going to wait for this to blow over and hire her back. She is completely fearless. And if Homeland fires her, another agency will hire her. So I hope Ben Shapiro and his team keep an eye on this woman, because this is the enemy within. Our country has been infiltrated at levels that I don't think any of us realized. All right, our number 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes.
I don't know what's going on. It's 1470, 1440.
What is it? We are no longer on AM 1470. Well, we're on a bunch of. I know. We're on other radio stations. You know. Where are you located?
Well, what other radio station locally are you in?
Well, where are you? Where are you?
This is Jose. I'm the one with the neuropathy. I go back to Paddleball.
Yeah, but where are you though?
I'm on 95 right now in Clayton Sample Road.
Okay, 95.3 FM.
95.3. Okay, my brother.
All right, 95.3 FM. And by the way, guys, spread the word. Spread the word. All right. Oh, boy. I know, guys. Hey, I think we should be on every radio station on the dial in every city in America. And I think if we did, radio would be booming, 24 hours a day. But it happens. But we did pick up a new station, a new FM station in Miami. And I know a lot of you have been listening to us on AM 1470 for a long time. We are no longer there, obviously. That is not me speaking Spanish, believe me. I wish I could speak Spanish. I really do. Yeah. I know when I was in 9th grade, I failed Spanish, and my teacher, she said, Brian, I remember her name, Miss Wilkes was her name. And she said, Brian, it tells you how long ago this was. By the year 2000, you will not be able to function in South Florida unless you can pass my class, which I failed all year long, and I got through it in college with C's because it was required to graduate, and I speak no Spanish. By the way, I want to tell you guys, it is open enrollment for Medicare right now. This is the only time of year you can make changes to your Medicare policy. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors. Her number, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. No matter where you are in Florida, Debbie from I Will Advisors can help you. Okay, guys? And she reviews Steve's Medicare every year. She helped him out a lot. He had that one medication that cost $2,000 a month, more than an ounce of gold, and it wasn't covered under his Medicare policy. Steve called Debbie at I Will Advisors. She took a look. Boom, it's covered now. It's amazing, right? 954-753-8080. So we've got that one woman we've found out, this spy within the Homeland Security, and then there's another one in the State Department. A veteran State Department official resigned Tuesday after Joe Biden reaffirmed America's commitment to support Israel in its war against Hamas. Josh Paul, who worked at the State Department's bureau overseeing arms transfers for more than a decade, expressed disapproval over the amount of U.S. military assistance provided to Israel. He resigned because he couldn't do anything to stop the Jews from getting the weapons, he says. Oh, my goodness. He shared a lengthy 2-page resignation letter on LinkedIn, citing a policy disagreement concerning continual lethal assistance to Israel. Wow. His resignation coincided with Biden's visit to Israel. He wrote this: in my 11 years, I have made moral compromises that I can recall, each heavily, but with my promise to myself in mind and intact, I'm leaving because I believe our current course with regards to the continued, expanded, and expedited provision of lethal arms to Israel, I have reached the end of that bargain. Keeping in mind that so far, I haven't seen a single report of an Israeli soldier being killed or wounded. It's all been civilians. And what about the hundreds of hostages? Now, this guy may not have been a spokesperson for the PLO like the woman at the Department of Homeland Security, but this guy, with his anti-Israeli opinions, to be anti-Israeli is to be pro-terrorist, right? So this guy's pro-terrorist. He doesn't want Israel to be able to defend itself against the Hamas terrorist. How many of these guys and gals do we have infiltrated into the highest levels of the bureaucracy of this country? The bureaucracy. These people that are deep in the bureaucracy really run the whole government, no matter who the presidents are. It's scary. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, it's Roz. How are you?
Hey, Roz.
I think we're in big trouble here in this country. We've got a president that doesn't know what he's doing. We've got another president running a third term, which is illegal. And now we've got people against the Israelis, which are our friends. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm exposed, and I got to tell you, if you guys watch on YouTube, you probably see this. I keep looking back towards Mike because I want to see who's back there. I'm getting nervous talking about this stuff that we're finding out this morning. I'm not kidding. I'm very nervous. I'm going to have to start the car with the door open. If you don't get that reference, Google it. You'll get it.
I'm going to be honest with you, Brian.
That's scary.
Other people who talk people actually infiltrated our country?
Yes.
And that they're gonna attack us over here.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to attack us, because we seem to be a weapon that they could. If you have these people in running the State Department bureaucracy, running the Homeland Security bureaucracy, it's their country. This country is run not by presidents and congressmen. It's run by those who work at the bureaucracy. Okay?
And not only that, but Biden was getting upset with Bibi Netanyahu, saying something about that they shouldn't have done something, or why did they do this to the hospital? And he said, we didn't do it, they did it themselves. And Bibi Netanyahu is hugging Biden when he knows that he's the one who sent the money last week. This would have never happened.
Well, unfortunately, he needs Biden to send him. You know how many rockets they've burned through in the Iron Dome that have to be replenished. They need our help, and our aircraft carrier groups off of Israel are being used as they're spying on the terrorists. So he needs our help with our spy technology from our military and satellites. So unfortunately, Biden gets sucked up to by Netanyahu, who's probably just as disgusted by Biden as the rest of us.
Well, he doesn't look too happy when he's around him. I could see the looks, but I'll be honest with you. We better pray to the Lord that God gets President Trump back in there, and that we have time, because I think these people are going to attack all of us.
We're in trouble. All right, Roz, thanks for the call. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back after this.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Keep looking back. So it's me. I'm like, I'm glad I shaved my face then.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, my goodness. Be right back, guys.
Accidents right now on I-95 with the turnpike, but some more slowdowns on 95 in the northbound from Deer Creek to Boca. Also the turnpike getting northbound on that same stretch. You know, take military trail, maybe 441 instead. I-95 heading north and southbound a little bit slow passing Lake Worth Road, safe with the turnpike, but we still have accidents at Forest Hill Boulevard on 441, Davis Road just north of 10th Avenue North, Lake Worth Road and Military Trail, also Okeechobee Boulevard and Royal Palm Beach Boulevard. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's knows fall is the perfect time for outdoor projects. Right now you can keep your yard looking its best and safe. Take care of leaves with leaf blowers starting at just $89.98. Lowe's knows home improvement while supplies last. See store for details. That's traffic at this bar.
I went to get some water. I mean, these stories, guys, that I've been going through, they're not, I mean, can you believe how many of these people we have infiltrated into our country? I mean, I'm in complete shock. Now, this will be probably the last time I'll be able to remind you guys that if you order your Mighty Mega Lion during the live stream, which is only 28 more minutes. It will go out with the shipment this morning. Okay, I'm gonna go home, pick them up, and ship them all out this morning with the shipment I packed up before I left. So if you go to MightyMagaLion.com and order yours, I know a lot of you have done this. My wife is packaging them up right now to mail out. It will go out this morning. So go to MightyMagaLion.com, order yours, and there's also a link in the description. Whew. This is scary stuff. This is really scary. I'm in shock at how the country has been infiltrated.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 46 years on the air.
All right, and we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Call us on hold, stand by. I mean, we are really, I am really a little nervous. I mean, when I did my show prep this morning, all these stories that I've shared, from the Tlaib insurrection to these people I've been talking about, these are all things that are in the news this morning. And until I started, I'm up in the morning doing my show prep, and until I started going through it, I didn't even realize how bad it is and how much this nation has been infiltrated. So much for never forget 9/11. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Josh from Green Acres.
Yes. You're on the air.
I wanted to say that I just wanted to say that I like your show a lot.
I'm waiting for the but. Yeah. Well, thank you.
And I am a big fan of your YouTube also.
Well, thank you.
My friend showed me your YouTube a couple months ago. And I've been a huge fan ever since.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
It's nice to have fans. In this kind of business, you hear so much negative. It's you got to when you get a compliment, you got to savor it, hold on to it, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the call.
You're welcome.
All right. Take care. Take care. Now, here's another story. I'm sorry to share so many, but you see, what's going on in this country is bad. Okay? I mean, look at this. This is... I don't even know... Some of these hyphenation things, I don't even understand these words. A trans climate scientist teaching at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Okay, now, I'm a little confused by this sentence. A trans climate scientist teaching at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Is this a transgender climate scientist? Or is there some type of trans climate scientist that they teach? I'm a little confused. I don't know. In the Art Institute, we used to have one in Fort Lauderdale. A trans climate scientist teaching at the Art Institute of Chicago has given an apology after calling Israelis pigs, savages, and irredeemable excrement. Dr. Mika Tosca describes herself on social media as Chicago's radically optimistic transsexual climate scientist. Okay, I guess my question's answered. And she put this all on Instagram on Tuesday. On her Instagram story on Tuesday, she posted, Israelis are pigs and savages, very bad people, irredeemable excrement. Do we have any college professors that aren't anti-Semites? Do we have any heterosexual, the gender they were born, college professors? You know, all this emphasis put on going to college, sending your kid to college, is a wackadoodle thing to do these days when you see what they're being taught. It has never been this bad. Okay? You might have had communist professors and left-wing professors. I had some of those, okay? But they weren't like this. They weren't like this. These are activist professors. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, this is Dave, Virginia.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, Brian, these Hamas operatives that got into our country, what did they do? Come across the border with the other 6 or 7 million people?
Well, I don't know. This one woman that works at the Department of Homeland Security, I mean, she's been here her whole life.
And the LPG,
the LPG, that's the LPG, that's the ladies golf LPGA.
I'm at the gates. And
oh, okay.
Palestine, they would stone them to death just walking down the street.
Probably.
And that.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought.
All right. No, you're right. I mean, I don't understand, why would a transgender activist be advocating? Well, you know why? And I'll tell you why. These professors and government workers are spies and activists, and this is the deal. When it comes to marketing something that's like say Coke comes out, and you see this still. Coca-Cola does this. Coca-Cola has a new type of Coke. Well, I'm not going to drink anything but Coca-Cola, but if they come out with some specialty Coke, they don't sell it to me. They don't try to pitch it to me or you. They try to sell it to young kids, college kids, high school kids, teenagers, because they're not yet set in their ways. So what's happened here is these anti-gay Muslim spies, the reason that you see so much of this in the gay community is they go to these gay and transgender kids in college and high school age and spread their propaganda to them. They leave out all the homophobia and everything, so they're not aware of it, because they know that that's who they can sell it to. They can't sell their pro-terrorist message to adults. They have to sell it to young people. Let me tell you, this is not a good time to send your kid to college. Send him to work. I went to college as an adult, and I think I'm better for it. I don't know what I'd be like. If I went to college right out of high school and had my brain polluted there, who knows what I'd be like today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, hi. This is Joan in Tampa Bay.
Hey, Joan.
Did you notice all the people that charged the congressional office building, they all had the same shirts on that said the same thing?
Yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, black shirts. What did they say, by the way? They were wearing black shirts. What did they say, Free Palestine or something?
Something like that, yeah, but they all had the same shirts on.
Yes.
You can't get those shirts done in 24 hours. I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely correct. It was a planned insurrection against the Capitol yesterday.
Most definitely.
Yeah, have you seen anyone in the mainstream media refer to it as an insurrection or hold Tlaib accountable?
No, I don't watch mainstream media.
No. Yeah, I know. It's you're smart. Yeah. Good point. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, so that shows organizational planning. That's right. Now, let me ask you, are you planning on retiring this year, next year, 2 years, 5 years? Are you already retired? Now, listen, if you're retired or planning on retired, you want to get in touch with Joe Thomas, okay? You know, you can't predict what's going to go on in the economy. Look at the interest rates today. My goodness. The interest rates are going up again. Inflation, everything that's going on. You can't plan your retirement on your own like that. You need an expert. And that expert is financial expert Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is president of Retirement Network Advisors, South Florida's premier retirement experts, and have been for over 20 years. He's seen every possible situation you can imagine, and he's a professional that you can trust. His business is family-owned and operated. He works with his daughter, Jenny, and Joe and Jenny host the Jupiter Joe Money Show right here on True Oldies, and they've been doing that for over a decade. And Joe Thomas is offering for free his book, The Retirement Know-It-All. You just got to mention me and go to his website, jupiterjoe.com, and they'll send you the book for free. He's also offering free phone consultations, and no matter where you're located, give him a call and set up that free phone consultation. I'm going to give you the number, and when you call, not only can you set up that free financial phone consultation, you can also request the book for free over the phone as well. The number 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. If you missed the number, just go to jupiterjoe.com and you can get the number there, all right? 561-743-0999. We'll be right back.
Hard truth. Delivered mornings 6 to 9 right here on the
All right, it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Well, the rally continues in the gold market, that's for sure. Gold yesterday trading in a range of $1,922 all the way up to $1,963 before closing out the day up $24.40 at $1,946.90. Silver gained 2 cents yesterday at $22.81. Platinum was down $12 at $8.85. And palladium was down $9 at $1,112. This morning, again, gold up another $8.10 right now at $1,955 the ounce. Silver up 4 cents at $22.85. Platinum unchanged at $8.85. And palladium continuing its downtrend, down $30 at $1,082.
Wow, things are looking good. Now, people that are interested in selling, can you tell people a little bit about that? Now, again, of course, gold, silver, coins, and bars and such you purchase from people. Can you tell people how that process works?
Absolutely. It's as easier to sell than it is to buy. You just bring your metals or your objects in, and we pay you cash on the spot right away.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah, and by the way, that goes for the coins and the bars, of course. But if you have things that are made of the metals, old jewelry, broken jewelry, maybe out of date, out of style jewelry, if it's made of the metals, that's money in the bank, isn't it, William Youngerman?
Yes, indeed. You got a good watch that you're not wearing anymore. Everybody's not. A lot of people aren't wearing those $20,000 watches anymore, and are using their phones. But if you got a watch laying around, Rolex, Patek Philippe, we pay tens of thousands of dollars for these watches. So
absolutely. You know, I saw Nancy Pelosi's husband on TV, and he was wearing an Apple Watch, and I thought that guy'd be a Rolex guy. But those watches are actually worth an incredible amount of money. What are some of the types of watch? I'm not a watch guy. What are some of the watch brands that people come in and sell to you?
Well, mostly the two most popular are Rolex and Patek Philippe.
Okay.
We buy all the better brand watches and as well as old pocket watches. Just about anything.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. And this time of year, coming into the holidays, if you need some money, there you go. All right. Now, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. His number, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. Online, WilliamYoungerman.com, or stop right in. His address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. And, I stress, if you don't have to go in to do business with William Youngerman, but if you can, you should. His store is not your average coin shop. It is literally a museum that really should, I've told this to you before, William Youngerman, you should be on that Boca trolley stop because it's really a cool place to come in and see what's on display there. 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll be right back.
On the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, and I did want to tell you guys, I should have mentioned this earlier, but hey, listen, when there's an insurrection at the Capitol, things slip my mind. Steve obviously has not been here lately. He is under the weather, and he'll be back soon, hopefully soon. Not anything terminal or anything. He's just not feeling too well, and that's why he's not been with us lately. He came on, I think, Monday, and he was really not feeling well, and I told him after the show, just wait till you're well. Getting up early in the morning doing the show is not going to get you better. So hopefully Steve will be returning to us tomorrow or Monday, I hope. Believe me. All right, our number, 1-888-GO-KANE-1 is the number. And what happened today on the program was, this has been really an eye-opening show going through these. I have not even gone through half of my stack of stuff today for the show. I have more stories of these radical government workers and things, but I can't go through any more of them. I didn't realize how bad it was, but I do want to end the broadcast today talking about what Tlaib did yesterday. This is very, very important because the media, I've been checking during the breaks, and none of them are characterizing it properly. Tlaib yesterday, and I'm going to play you a clip of it in a moment for those that did not hear this when I played this in the first hour of the show. Tlaib yesterday gave a speech to a group of anti-Israeli pro-terrorist supporters. A lot of them claim to be Jews, and as I say, don't assume they're Jewish because Jewish is in the title of the organization that they're in. Okay? A lot of people claim to be Jews that are not. And a lot of them may be Jews. It's not unusual to have liberal Jews that are pro-terrorist. There's a long, sad history of this in the liberal Jewish community in this country. There's always been anti-Israeli Jews. I don't understand it. Jews for Hitler. Is basically what a lot of these people are. So Tlaib was speaking to a group of pro-Hamas people yesterday, lying to them, telling them that the Israelis bombed that hospital, which was totally debunked early on yesterday. Early on. And she pretended to cry. And there's a guy online, his name's Doug Tenaple. He did actually some zooming in on her eyes when she was crying. Not one tear. Fake. Not one tear as she goes through this. After she gave this lying speech with the fake tears, her supporters, as the previous caller before the Gold Report said, were all wearing the same shirts, breached the Capitol. They went through the fence around the Capitol, stormed inside, interrupted government business. That is the textbook definition of an insurrection, according to the media, the Democrats, and even a lot of Republicans in the Uniparty who have been calling Jim Jordan an insurrectionist because he supports Trump. So this is Tlaib yesterday with the fake crying. Listen.
Continue to watch people think it's okay to bomb a hospital with children. You know what's so hard sometimes is watching those videos and the people telling the kids don't cry. And let them cry. And they're shaking, and somebody, they keep telling them not to cry in Arabic.
See, here's the fake crying. And when Doug Tlaib, we zoomed in on this, not one tear during any of this.
And like let them cry. And they're shaking, and somebody, you know this, they keep telling them not to cry in Arabic. They can cry, I can cry, we all can cry. If we're not crying, something is wrong. And so I'm telling you right now, President Biden, not all America's with you on this one. And you need to wake up and understand that. We are literally watching people commit genocide and killing the vast majority just like this. And we still stand by and say nothing. We will remember this, but all of you need to know, I swear to Allah, you are on the right side of history. You are. You're doing everything possible to save lives. What is wrong with that? Stop it with trying to politicize it.
You know, she told these, and this was right before they breached the Capitol yesterday, and Fox News was reporting this as Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib led a protest in front of the Capitol building yesterday. Oh, okay. Wow. They've got Trump on charges in D.C. in front of deranged Jack Smith with that Obama-appointed judge that was Hunter's boss. Can you believe it? At the law firm that she was an equity partner in. He's facing trial for insurrection against this country, Donald Trump, for giving a speech where he said people to be peaceful. Tlaib did what they accused Trump of doing yesterday, and they don't call it anything. Oh, she led a protest. Really? Are you kidding me? And, you know, this story, which she said at the end, you're on the right side of history, she says. You know, after 9/11, there was a few months before the ground war began in Afghanistan, and George Bush said to the Taliban that if you hand over Osama bin Laden, we will not attack, we will not invade. He said this. We went in December. I can't remember exactly when, but it was in December, and it was on the weekend because I remember I was home watching it. And he told them this for a couple of months. If you turn over Osama bin Laden, we will not attack. We will not invade. They didn't do it. We invaded. Same thing in Iraq. Before, I know Bush was wrong on Iraq, but he still said, if Saddam Hussein and his sons leave Iraq, we will not attack. We will not invade. Did that for months. Then we did. There's a similar thing going on right now with Israel and Hamas. They have a couple hundred prisoners. Do you know that the Israeli Defense Forces yesterday released a statement that 80% of the civilians that were murdered by Hamas were tortured first? Imagine, 80%. Some of them they just shot dead in the streets, but 80% were tortured first. They have hundreds of hostages, 200-300 hostages, we're told. Many of them Americans. Biden's giving them $100 million, even though they're holding Americans hostage. This is insanity. If the Palestinians turned over the hostages, the ones that are still alive, maybe they could stop this. But I've seen no effort from the Palestinians to turn over any of the hostages. And you know what? I don't hear Tlaib seem to have any problem with the hostages. Israel's the victim? You know, you watch that footage the IDF has a YouTube channel, and they put video out, and it's graphic, but it's still something that most people could handle. I would not watch it if I were you guys, but they're putting all the information out there. And when they showed the video of the attacks into those neighborhoods in Israel, there's no military up against the terrorists. They're armed with their military-grade equipment. Not even a police officer. All civilian. Here's another clip of Tlaib yesterday before that insurrection.
It's not a threat. It isn't. They think we're joking. I mean, I think the White House and everyone thinks that we're just going to sit back and let this just continue to happen. No.
And then boom, then they marched and breached the Capitol. She told them they're on the right side of history, Tlaib. They're defending the murderers of civilians. They didn't even have guns to fight back with. Or they would have pulled them out. All they had were phones, texting home. On. Craziness. Complete craziness. And they call this a protest? Well, if this was a protest that she led, so was January 6th. And, listen, this news coverage is going to continue day after day for months. This is not going to end anytime soon. And what's going to happen are more of these people in our country are going to be smoked out. We've got a lot of people at all levels of our society, at our schools, inside of our government, that are spies and sympathizers and terrible people connected to terrible things. So, there's nothing we could do to prevent that tragedy. It happened. But it is waking people up in this country to what is going on inside of it. And I know that I'm not the only one that when I see the infiltration, like that woman I was telling you about on Homeland Security earlier, what you're seeing on TV at the colleges, what you see with Tlaib and Omar and others, that is not scaring the living daylights out of millions of Americans. And you should be, because there's a big problem here. Okay? And this all happened after 9/11. This infiltration movement happened after 9/11. First time I remember something happening with this political correctness was remember the flying imams? It was not long after 9/11, a group of imams in full Muslim garb were waiting to board an airplane at an airport and were praying in Arabic at the airport. People waiting to board the flight got nervous that there were a bunch of guys dressed in Muslim traditional clothing praying in Arabic. They reported it to the authorities at the airport. You know what happened? The people that reported them were sued by the imams, and the flying imams won. Can you believe? And obviously what they did that on purpose to scare the living daylights out of everyone. And it's gotten worse since then based on what we're seeing. Well, listen, we're out of time for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Now, remember, tomorrow is Friday, and Friday means open phones. Open phones on Friday. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Hopefully there'll be no events in the Middle East to talk about tomorrow. Okay, I want it to be uneventful, don't you guys? Yes, because if there's events, that means terrible things have happened. But tomorrow is Open MAGA Mike Friday on the program. Any and everything you have on your mind is fair game on Friday's show. You're not limited to just the topics that we bring up on the program. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio. Oh, man. And the news is going to be rough, but we'll be here every day reporting on it. I'm Brian Craig. It's The Steve Kane Show. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar.
Yeah, 104.3 is our new FM in Miami, into the Keys. All right, guys, I got to run. Thanks for watching. If you're new, subscribe. And everyone, please like the video if you don't mind. I got to switch it around to turn it off. There you go.